10 years ago, mysterious gates tore open across the world, spilling monsters into every city. Humanity's only defense was the awakened, people granted powers to fight back. They were called hunters, but not all hunters were born equal. 24-year-old Ethan Cross was the weakest of them all, an E-rank hunter whose only ability was a faint sense for danger. While others grew rich clearing dungeons, Ethan barely survived, hauling supplies for teams that treated him as expendable.
Checking his cracked phone under a streetlight, another rejection. 3 guilds this week. I guess a hunter who can't even fight is worth less than the gear he carries.
Ethan wasn't fighting for glory. His younger sister, Lily, lay in a hospital bed, her treatment draining every coin he earned. For her, he swallowed his pride and took the jobs no one else would.
Staring at the photo, softly. Hang in there, Lily. I'll find a way to pay for the surgery. I promise.
With rent overdue and the hospital calling daily, Ethan had no choice but to accept the one job still open to an E-rank, a low-tier dungeon raid as a porter for the Silverfang Guild. The Silverfang team was led by Damien Vale, a rising B-rank hunter as talented as he was cruel. To him, weaklings like Ethan existed only to carry bags and, if things went wrong, to buy time with their lives.
Smirking, you're the porter? Try not to die too fast, E-rank. And if a monster charges us, well, that's what baggage is for.
Lowering his head, understood. I just need the day's pay. I won't get in your way.
The dungeon was rated D-class, dangerous but manageable for a trained team. Ethan trailed behind, weighed down by supply packs, his weak danger sense prickling at the back of his neck with every step.
Muttering to himself, something's wrong. This place is too quiet. Even the low-level monsters should be swarming by now.
But no one listened to a porter. The team pushed deeper, greedy for the mana crystals that lined the dungeon's core. Then it happened, the thing every hunter feared. A dungeon break. The D-class dungeon had spawned a monster far beyond its rating. A towering armored beast with eyes like burning coals.
Panicking, impossible. That's an A-class monster. Fall back, everyone, fall back.
In their scramble to flee, the team did exactly what Damien had promised they would. They threw the porter to the beast.
Shoving Ethan backward, sorry, E-rank. Better one nobody than all of us. Buy us some time.
Falling, eyes wide with betrayal. No, wait. Don't leave me here.
The guild sealed the exit behind them, trapping Ethan alone with a monster he had no hope of defeating. In that moment, staring death in the face, he thought only of his sister.
Bleeding, crawling backward. Lily, I'm sorry. I couldn't keep my promise. I couldn't protect anyone.
The beast raised its massive claw. Ethan closed his eyes, waiting for the end. And then, a voice, cold and mechanical, echoed inside his mind. A translucent blue window of light bloomed before his eyes, visible to no one but him.
Ding. Host has met the awakening conditions, a pure will to protect, tested at the threshold of death. The leveling system is now bound to host.
Staring in disbelief. A system? What is this? Some kind of skill window?
Correct. Unlike other awakened, host does not have a fixed rank. Host can grow without limit, by hunting, by surviving, by leveling up. Defeat the enemy before you to gain your first levels.
Strength Ethan had never known flooded into his limbs. The system fed on his desperation and turned it into power. He rose to his feet and for the first time in his life he did not run.
Gripping a fallen sword, eyes blazing. You wanted baggage to buy time? Fine, but I'm not dying here. Not while Lily still needs me.
He charged the beast that was meant to be his grave. The fight was brutal. Ethan was clumsy, untrained, running on instinct alone. But every blow he landed, every wound he survived, the system rewarded with raw, surging power.
Ding. Level up. Level up. Level up. Host stats are rising rapidly. Combat data absorbed.
Dodging a claw, breathing hard. I can feel it. I'm getting faster, stronger. Every second I stay alive, I get closer to winning.
With a final, desperate strike, Ethan drove his blade through the beast's burning eye. The A-class monster that an entire B-rank team had fled from crashed to the ground, slain by the weakest hunter alive.
Ding. Boss defeated. Host has reached level 15. A hidden path has opened. Host is no longer bound by rank.
Staring at his own trembling hands, I did it. I actually won. This power, it could change everything.
As the beast dissolved, it left behind something no D-class dungeon should ever drop. A radiant crimson mana core, worth more than everything Ethan had earned in his entire life.
Holding the core, stunned, this is enough. Enough for Lily's surgery. Enough for a fresh start. But I have to be careful. If anyone learns what I can do, they'll try to take it from me.
In that instant, Ethan made a decision that would define everything to come. He would hide his true strength and rise in the shadows. When the dungeon exit reopened, the Silver Fang Guild froze in shock. The porter they had left to die walked out, alive, unhurt, and carrying the corpse core of the very monster they had fled.
Backing away, pale, impossible. You should be dead. How did you survive an A-class monster?
Calmly, hiding his power, I got lucky. It lost interest and I slipped past it. That's all. I'll take my day's pay now, if you don't mind.
Ethan sold the Crimson Core quietly at the Hunter Association exchange, careful to claim he had merely found it. The payout was staggering, enough to clear his debts and book his sister's surgery that very week.
Examining the core, this is an exceptional specimen, sir. Where did you say you acquired it? Cores like this don't come from D-class gates.
Calmly, a lucky salvage. I'd rather not say more. I'm sure you understand. A hunter has to protect his sources.
That afternoon, Ethan walked into the hospital not as a failing porter, but as a brother who could finally keep his promise.
Sitting by the bed, smiling. Lily, the doctors are scheduling your surgery. You're going to get better. I finally found a way.
Weakly, smiling, I knew you would, big brother. You always keep your promises. But, please don't push yourself too hard out there.
For the first time in years, Ethan allowed himself to hope. But the world of hunters was about to pull him in far deeper than he imagined. At the hospital, Ethan met Mia Reed, a rare A-rank healing hunter who volunteered her time treating civilians the guilds ignored. She had noticed the faint, unusual mana lingering around him.
Studying him curiously, you're a hunter, aren't you? Your mana signature is strange. Unstable, but deep. I've never felt anything quite like it.
Guarded but polite, I'm nobody special. Just an E-rank porter. You must be mistaking me for someone stronger.
Smiling gently, an E-rank porter who walked out of a dungeon break carrying an A-class core? I don't think so. Don't worry, your secret's safe with me. But if you're hiding power, you must have a good reason.
Surprised, softening. Let's just say I've learned the hard way what happens to weak hunters who stand out. I'd rather stay invisible a little longer.
Something in her steady, unjudging gaze made Ethan trust her, the first person in a long time he felt he could. Over the following weeks, Ethan began a secret routine. Every night, he slipped into low-level dungeons alone, hunting monster after monster, letting the system devour the combat data and pour it back as raw growth.
Ding. Level up. Host has unlocked a new skill, Shadow Step, short-range instant movement. Continue hunting to unlock more.
Grinning in the dark, Shadow Step. With this, I can close distance in a blink. Every night, I'm becoming someone the old me wouldn't even recognize.
What took ordinary hunters years, Ethan accomplished in weeks. Levels stacked upon levels. Skills bloomed. The weakest hunter alive was quietly becoming something the world had never seen. A hunter with no ceiling.
Surveying a cleared dungeon. At this rate, rank means nothing to me anymore. But I have to keep hiding it. The moment the big guilds notice a rising talent, they either recruit you by force or bury you.
Ethan was right to be cautious. The city's hunters were ruled by the Vale Corporation, a monstrously powerful guild led by Damien's father, Chairman Victor Vale, an S-rank hunter who treated the city's gates as his personal gold mine.
Gazing over the city, coldly, every gate, every core, every talented hunter in this city belongs to me. Those who refuse to kneel are simply removed. That is the natural order.
Beneath Victor's polished empire lay a dark secret, one that would soon collide with Ethan's hidden rise. To move freely through the association, Ethan needed a guild, but not one that would smother him. He chose the Wandering Blades, a small, near-bankrupt guild of misfits and low ranks the big corporations had discarded.
Gruff but warm, we can't offer you much, kid. We're broke, we're small, and the Veil Corporation would love to see us fold. But here, nobody gets thrown to a monster to save someone else's skin. That much I promise.
Nodding moved, that's all I need. A place that won't stab me in the back. I'll pull my weight, more than you'd expect from an E-rank.
The guild leader, Marcus Reyes, was a former A-rank who had walked away from the Veil Corporation in disgust years ago. In Ethan, he sensed a hidden depth he couldn't quite name, and treated him not as baggage, but as a hunter worth believing in.
Clapping Ethan's shoulder, you carry yourself like someone who's tasted death and came back. Whatever you're hiding, I won't pry. Just know, in this guild, you never fight alone.
Quietly, you have no idea how much that means to me. I spent years fighting alone. Maybe it's time that changed.
The Wandering Blades were drowning in debt. To survive, Reyes accepted a contract far above the guild's grade. A C-class gate rumored to hide unusual mana readings. It was a desperate gamble.
Addressing the guild, I won't lie to you. This raid is above our pay grade and dangerous. But if we clear it, we stay alive as a guild. If any of you want out, no shame in it. Speak now.
Stepping forward, I'm in. And Reyes, trust me when I say this dungeon won't be as far above us as you think.
Inside the gate, the readings Reyes had feared proved true. The dungeon was mutating, its monsters far stronger than its C-class rating. The outcast guild found themselves cornered.
Fending off monsters, it's another break in the making. Everyone, tight formation. We hold together or we die apart.
Calmly assessing, no. Everyone fall back and cover the wounded. Leave the front to me. Just this once. Don't ask questions.
And then, for the first time, Ethan let the mask slip, just enough. Shadow Step carried him across the battlefield in blurs of motion, his blade carving through monsters that should have overwhelmed them all.
Ding. Level up. Host is fighting to protect, not merely to survive. Bonus growth granted.
Staring, stunned, what in the world, that's not an E-rank. That's not even A-rank movement. Ethan, what are you?
When the last monster fell, the Wandering Blades stood unharmed, saved by the very hunter the world called worthless. They looked at Ethan with awe, and with questions he wasn't ready to answer.
Catching his breath, I'll explain what I can someday. For now, all that matters is everyone made it out alive. That's the only thing I care about.
Firmly, then we keep your secret. Every one of us. A man who bleeds to protect his team has earned that much loyalty.
That night, the Wandering Blades celebrated not just survival, but rebirth. For the first time, the discarded misfits believed they might have a future, and at the center of it stood a hunter who chose them when the world had thrown him away.
Raising a glass to the Wandering Blades, the guild nobody believed in. And to Ethan, who reminded us what we're capable of.
Smiling, raising his glass, to all of us. Whatever comes next, we face it together.
News of the impossible C-class clear reached Mia. She sought Ethan out. And this time, she wasn't there to keep his secret. She was there to join him.
Determined, a guild that fights to protect its people instead of exploiting them, that's rare in this city. If you'll have me, I want to fight at your side. Your reckless style could use a healer who won't abandon you.
Grateful, honestly. I could use someone I trust watching my back. Welcome to the Wandering Blades, Mia.
But every rise casts a shadow. The Veil Corporation had noticed the bankrupt little guild that suddenly cleared a mutated dungeon, and Chairman Victor did not tolerate rivals, however small.
Coldly, to his son, a gutter guild clearing a mutating gate. Someone strong is hiding among them. Find out who. Talent that isn't mine is a threat to be crushed, or claimed.
Bowing, consider it done, father. I'll dig up their secret and bury them with it.
Damien's investigation led him to a name he never expected, Ethan Cross, the very porter he had thrown to a monster and left for dead. The realization filled him not with guilt, but with fury.
Snarling at a photo, the porter? That worthless E-rank is the one clearing mutated gates. No. Impossible. Whatever trick he's using, I'll expose it, and this time, I'll make sure he stays dead.
A collision between the risen and the rotten was now inevitable. Unable to crush the wandering blades openly, Victor chose sabotage. He framed the guild for illegally hoarding mana cores, a serious crime that could see their license revoked and their members jailed.
Reading the official notice, furious, illegal core hoarding? These are forgeries. The Veil Corporation is trying to destroy us with a lie, because we won't kneel to them.
Calmly, ice hard. Then we prove the truth. And we find out what they're really hiding behind all this money and power. A guild this corrupt always has a deeper secret.
While the association investigated the false charges, Ethan and Mia dug into the Veil Corporation in secret, and what they uncovered was far darker than corporate greed.
Reviewing stolen records, horrified, Ethan, look at this. The Veil Corporation has been deliberately delaying dungeon break alerts, letting gates rupture in poor districts, so they can buy the ruined land for nothing afterward.
Clenching his fists, they're letting innocent people die to profit off the wreckage. This isn't just corruption. This is mass murder dressed up as business.
Their fears came true faster than they imagined. A massive gate ruptured in a crowded residential district, and the Veil Corporation, as always, sat on the alert, letting the disaster unfold.
Screaming, fleeing, the gates breaking. Where are the hunters? Somebody help us, there are children still inside.
Already running, the Veil Corp won't come. But we will. Mia, Reyes, we move now. We don't wait for permission to save lives.
The wandering blades threw themselves into the breach the corporation had abandoned. Ethan fought at the front, no longer hiding, his hidden power now a shield between the monsters and the fleeing families.
Holding the line. Get everyone to the evacuation point. Nothing gets past me. Mia, keep the wounded alive. Reyes, guide the civilians out.
Ding. Host is protecting hundreds of lives. Massive growth surge unlocked. New skill available, Guardian's Domain.
The system answered his resolve. A dome of shimmering blue mana erupted from Ethan, sheltering the entire evacuation route, turning back monsters that hurled themselves against it.
Straining to hold the dome, Guardian's Domain. As long as I'm standing, nothing gets through. Everyone run. I've got you.
Under his shield, hundreds of civilians who the corporation had written off as acceptable losses escaped to safety. When the dust settled, the district had been saved, not by the mighty Veil Corporation, but by a small, broke guild everyone had dismissed. The city began to whisper a new name, the Wandering Blades.
Clutching her child, tearful. You saved us. All of you. The big guilds never came, but you did. We won't forget this. This city won't forget this.
Gently, you don't owe us anything. Protecting people, that's what a hunter is supposed to do. Somewhere along the way, this city forgot that. We're just trying to remember.
The rescue drew the attention of Sarah Lane, an investigative journalist who had spent years trying to expose the Veil Corporation, only to be silenced at every turn.
Earnestly, I've been chasing the truth about Veil for years. You're the first hunters brave enough to stand against them. If you have proof of what they've done, I can put it in front of the entire city.
Considering, then we help each other. You give the truth a voice. We'll give you the evidence, and the protection to survive publishing it.
With the truth closing in, Victor abandoned subtlety. He dispatched his elite enforcers, and his own son Damien, to wipe out the Wandering Blades before the evidence could surface.
Leading armed hunters burn their guild hall. Silence the journalist. And bring me the porter's head. Father wants this cleaned up before dawn.
That night, the small guild would face the full fury of the most powerful corporation in the city. The Veil enforcers stormed the Wandering Blades Hall. But the guild they came to crush was no longer the collection of discards they remembered. Every member fought with the ferocity of people defending their only home.
Fighting fiercely, this is our house. You corporate dogs picked the wrong guild to threaten. Hold the line, Blades.
Cutting through enforcers. Reyes, protect the others. Damien is mine. It's time he answered for what he did in that dungeon.
At last, Ethan stood face to face with the man who had thrown him to his death. Damien struck first, confident in his B-rank power, but the porter he remembered was gone.
Attacking, die like you were supposed to, you gutter rat.
Blocking effortlessly, cold. You threw me to a monster to save yourself. That day, you didn't kill me. You woke me up. Now let me show you exactly what you created.
In a blur of shadow steps, Ethan overwhelmed Damien completely, disarming him and dropping him to his knees before he could even comprehend the gap between them.
On his knees, trembling, "This is impossible, an E-rank can't. What are you?"
Standing over him. "I'm the hunter you decided was worthless. Turns out worth isn't something you get to decide for other people. Your father's empire ends tonight."
As the enforcers fell, Sarah Lane's broadcast went live across every screen in the city. The delayed alerts, the deliberate deaths, the forged charges. The Vale Corporation's crimes laid bare for all to see.
Broadcasting, citizens of this city, the Vale Corporation let your neighbors die for profit. Here is the proof they killed to bury. The hunters who were sworn to protect you have been preying on you instead.
Outrage swept the city like wildfire. By morning, the untouchable empire was crumbling. Cornered and exposed, Chairman Victor Vale did what desperate men of power always do. He came to kill the one who had brought him down, unleashing his full S-rank might.
Radiating dark mana, you think a broadcast can end me? I am the strongest hunter this city has ever known. I will erase you, your guild, and every trace of your defiance.
Steady, unafraid. You built your strength on the corpses of people you were supposed to protect. Mine grew from the will to protect them. Let's see which one actually wins.
The battle shook the city to its foundations. Victor was an S-rank monster of raw power, but Ethan's system had no ceiling, and every strike he took only fed his resolve to end this.
Ding. Host has reached a new threshold. Final limiter released. All stats surging.
Pushing through the pain. Everything I've become, every level, every scar, was for this moment. For Lily. For every family you left to die. This ends now.
With everything he had, Ethan broke through Victor's defenses and struck the decisive blow. The strongest hunter in the city, the tyrant who ruled through fear, fell at the hands of the one he deemed the weakest.
Collapsing, disbelieving, how could I lose, to an E-rank?
Quietly, because you never understood the one thing that actually makes someone strong. It was never about rank. It was about who you're willing to bleed for.
Victor Vale was taken into custody, his empire dismantled, his crimes answered for in full. The gates he had exploited were placed under honest oversight, and the districts he'd sacrificed were rebuilt.
Addressing the press, the Vale Corporation's reign of exploitation is over. From this day forward, the hunters of this city serve its people, not the other way around. We owe that to the Wandering Blades.
The city had been freed, not by its strongest guild, but by the one that never stopped caring. And amid the celebration, the victory that mattered most to Ethan had nothing to do with monsters or empires. His sister's surgery had succeeded. Lily was going to live.
Healthy, hugging him tight, you did it, big brother. You kept every promise. But you have to promise me one more thing, stop scaring me half to death out there.
Laughing, holding her. I promise I'll be more careful. Now that you're better, I finally have everything I was fighting for.
The Wandering Blades, once bankrupt and mocked, became the most respected guild in the city. Not for their power, but for their principles. Hunters who believed in protecting people flocked to their banner.
Surveying the crowded guild hall, proud, who'd have thought the guild nobody wanted is now the one everybody wants to join. And it all started with an E-rank porter who refused to lie down and die.
Smiling. It started with a guild that refused to throw anyone away. That's the part I'll never forget.
Through it all, Ethan and Mia had grown from wary strangers into something far deeper. Two people who had chosen, again and again, to fight for each other.
Softly, beside him, when we first met, you were so busy hiding. Now the whole city knows your name. How does it feel?
Taking her hand, honestly, the name doesn't matter. What matters is I don't have to fight alone anymore. And I'm glad it's you standing next to me.
Ethan never forgot what it felt like to be discarded. He began quietly training the low-rank hunters the guild still overlooked, teaching them that strength was something you built, not something you were born with.
To a group of nervous rookies, every one of you was told you'd never amount to anything. I was told the same thing. Forget it. In this guild, your rank doesn't decide your worth, your heart does.
Inspired, yes, sir. We won't let you down.
Yet even in peace, the system hinted that Ethan's journey was far from over. Larger gates were stirring across the world, and powers far beyond a single city were beginning to take notice of the limitless hunter.
Ding. Warning, global gate activity is rising. Host's growth has attracted attention from beyond. Greater trials await.
Gazing at the horizon, resolute. So this was never really the end. Fine. Whatever's coming, I'll be ready. I've got people to protect now, and I'm not the weakest hunter anymore.
Even Damien, stripped of his father's empire and his arrogance, came to Ethan, not with hatred, but with something he'd never shown before, humility.
Quietly, I spent my whole life believing power made me better than everyone. You proved me wrong. I don't expect forgiveness. But if there's a way to make up for what I did, I want to try.
After a pause, people can change. If you mean it, prove it by protecting the ones you used to look down on. That's the only apology that counts.
As the Wandering Blade's reputation spread, calls for help came from distant cities drowning under their own corrupt guilds and unchecked gates. Ethan and his companions answered every one.
Reading a plea for help, another city asking for the Wandering Blades. Word spreading fast, Ethan. We're becoming something bigger than a guild.
Nodding, then we go where we're needed. Every city deserves hunters who fight for its people. If no one else will be that, we will.
From the weakest hunter the world had ever known to the shield that guarded an entire city, Ethan Cross had rewritten his fate not through the power he was given, but through everything he chose to do with it.
Gazing at the sunrise, speaking to the viewer, I was told my whole life that I was worthless. If you've ever felt that way too, don't believe it. Strength isn't where you start. It's what you're willing to fight for. If you enjoyed this story, subscribe for more. The next adventure is just beginning.
And as the sun rose over the city he had saved, the limitless hunter turned toward the horizon, and the countless stories still waiting to be told.